with Paddy Power. They stream all UK and Irish racing live on your mobile, tablet or PC.
Hello there, welcome along to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, that's Paul Keeley. On the line is Lee Mottershead, and over in Ireland from Paddy Power we have Brendan Duke. We are going to look ahead to a big weekend of flat racing. All the action, all the focus is at Haydock, where the Sprint Cup takes place at 4:30. We hope Limato will run, but there is rain forecast. Loads of other good stuff there. Also some really good flat racing at Kempton and Ascot. And we'll even have a little look ahead to Sunday, which is decent. There's a Dundalk card where Brendan promises a couple of good things, and it's the Garraby Stakes at York. Best of all, though, I've just found in the corner of the studio these. We share the studio with RPG TV, and they always have all sorts of good things. But they've got a bag of Lindor sea salt caramel kills. I mean, we did nick one already.
We did,
so
yeah, and you're going to have to keep me away from me, otherwise I'm just not going to say anything all day.
No, you'll have to mime your tips, but we'll get stuck into them afterwards. I'm sure they'll be very understanding when they come in tonight to broadcast from Romford and Henlow and wherever. OK, let's start off then with 4:30. It could be actually quite ill-timed. I know that people always say that the big race should be schemed as late as possible, but because Limato needs decent ground and there is rain to hit Haydock tomorrow lunchtime, it might be that the late staging of the race causes the favourite not to run. If he does run, Brendan, how are Paddy Power betting on the Sprint Cup?
Well, we're 7-4 Limato, Bruce. 5-1 Quiet Reflection, 15-2 The Tin Man, 8-1 Dancing Star, 10-1 Magical Memory, 12-1 Soudois, and 16's Bar.
Has anyone got a view on the weather and whether it'll scupper the horse's chances? Lee, you've already spoken to Henry Candy, which should be the most important thing. What did he say?
Yeah, I spoke to Henry Candy and to the owner, Paul Jacobs. They're both saying that if they get the forecast rain, then that should be fine. Henry will walk the track in the morning. Paul Jacobs was making the point that realistically, by the time the champion sprint at Ascot comes around and the Prix de la Forêt, the odds are against the ground being suitable for Limato, so they want to run. But Brendan made the point off air that there's the forecast rain before racing and what they get during racing. And ironically, Limato's prospects could be hindered by Channel 4 having the rights to Formula 1 because the racing is on later because of Channel 4's coverage of the qualifying session. You know, the Sprint Cup wouldn't normally run at 4:30. Everything's been pushed back. So I know it's not your favourite sport, Bruce, and it could well scupper.
It's not a sport, it's engineering.
Well, there you go. It's not your favourite engineering, and it could scupper Limato's prospects. But I don't see any point stressing too much, because if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Sometimes
Paul, would you blame engineering, or would you blame the fact that they've been too fussy? I mean, after all, this is a gelding. There's no stud value to protect. Just run the bloody thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why not? I mean, OK, he couldn't handle soft ground really well earlier in his career, but who knows? I mean, you know, he might well get beat, but does it matter? He's not going to stud, is he? Right, you know, he can pick up some decent prize money for finishing third or fourth. It doesn't matter. His reputation's still going to be intact. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but, you know, I think we are facing basically a will he won't he almost right until the off, aren't we?
OK, well, what we're going to do is we're going to have to, for the first bit, we're going to assume it's rained a bit, but not too bad. It's on the soft side of good, but he's still going to run. In which case, Brendan Duke, how will the race pan out?
Well, you see, the thing is, everything else that's credible in the race wants a bit of cut in the ground, so it doesn't really narrow the field all that much, this rain. Well, it'll probably take Limato out of it, but other than that, I thought maybe Quiet Reflection, an improving mare, but I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot between about 6 or 7 of them.
Right, OK, well, that was pretty inconclusive, wasn't it, Kills?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing we need to worry about Limato is Henry Candy himself has said that he's not convinced to bringing the horse back really quickly from a run.
That's more the big thing, isn't it? Because he normally needs a bit of a break.
To be honest, his form lines don't really back that up, because when he was out of form early last season, he was just out of form. So, you know, he might just be a better horse now. In which case, and if the ground stays fast, then he's got the best form in the race by a country mile. But I think you got to take him on one way or the other. And I don't understand the price of Soudois. I don't see why it's considerably bigger than the likes of Quiet Reflection and Magical Memory, who he finished ahead of, went second at Limato in the July Cup. He likes some decent ground. It doesn't actually matter what ground he has. If it rains, he's fine. If it doesn't rain, he's fine. He's got some serious soft ground winning form from when he was in France. he's run some really, really solid races for David O'Mara, and there's no reason why he should be a double-figure price. He was only beaten half a length in the Duke of York by magical memory, beaten 3/4 of a length in the Diamond Jubilee, obviously finished second to Limato, fourth in the Primoz de Guiche last time, lost 2 places close home, that was 6.5 furlongs. So trip is fine. He's actually £4 better off with Quiet Reflection, who was behind him in the July Cup because of the weight for age moving in his favour at this time of year. He's just a cracking each way bet.
Wow, you've made a strong case. We're getting somewhere now. Lee, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cracking race. And the whole sprinting division has really come on leaps and bounds in the last couple of years. It used to be a really boring division. It's not anymore. I thought Limato looked an exceptionally good sprinter in the July Cup. If anything, he hammered home that fact in the Nunthorpe. It's just the ground's a big question. Quiet Reflection is a very high-class 3-year-old sprinter. If I was having a bet at the race, I think I'd be inclined to play each way on Strathburn. He was held in the highest regard by Charlie Hills last year. Almost won this race on good to soft ground. His form's tailed off a little bit. He's gone to Robert Cowell. His 2 runs to the yard haven't been that inspiring, but Robert's probably been feeling his way with the horse. The fact he runs him is interesting, and at massive prices, he could be worth a nibble each way.
All right, Brendan, has Paul's confidence inspired you to have a rethink and maybe open your wallet on this one, or do you think you'll be having a watching brief?
Watching brief for me, Bruce.
All right, have you got anything for us later, though?
I do. I have a will win.
Good, all right. And Kills, you're extremely confident this week, haven't you?
I've got loads of will wins, I'm afraid.
Blimey, okay.
I've had some pretty ropey Saturdays recently, and if it's as ropey tomorrow as it has been for the last few weeks, it's going to be very expensive. Because
what price are you to win tomorrow, do you think?
Well, I start the day 7s on, and we'll see how we go from there.
All right, which race should we tackle next? Should we do the 32 Red Mile, which takes place at Haydock at 3 o'clock?
Yeah, why not?
Go on then, Kills, start us off there.
Why not? Yeah, well, interesting. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, I went with a horse. William Haggis returned to the track from a long break, and he's doing the same with Hathal here. Hasn't been seen since winning at the end of last year, almost in exactly a year off. He probably wants a bit of cut, so he was ready because he was entered for the Celebration Mile last week, and he came out at the overnight stage. He's a horse that looked like he was improving last year, at the end of last year. Won over 7 furlongs then, and it was despite the 7 furlongs. He definitely wants a mile. Haggis, who's absolutely flying. I just had a look.
What was that stat you told me earlier?
Last fortnight, he's had 38 runners, and 20 of them have finished first or second. So talk about a yard in form. He's a yard in huge amount of form. He's got a terrific record at Haydock as well. And I think Hathal is a decent price, around about 7 to 1 with Paddy Power. I do not understand why Mitcham Swagger is one of the favourites. He hasn't actually won a race since winning here off a handicap marker of 87. Keeps getting beat, keeps going off at a short price. Can't have him, and I don't trust Convey either, who's the clear favourite with Paddy.
How are you betting, Brendan?
7 to 2 Convey is correct. 9 to 2 Mitcham Swagger. 6 to 1 the Breton Rock. 6 to 1 Custom Cuts. 7 to 1 Hathal. 8 to 1 First Selection, and 12's Bar.
And that's Gabriel at 12. Good old Gabriel still going strong. Who do you like, Brendan?
I like Mitcham Swagger. This rain will be music to the ears of the boy Lanigan. 7 furlongs in a tactical heat, no good to him the last day. A mile, bit of cut in the ground, up against horses with questions to answer. I think he's a fair price.
There you go, Kills. Put that in your pipe.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, have you go. Someone's got to back it, but I can't. I can't have it myself.
Well, he's a hugely popular horse, isn't he? He always gets backed.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he won his first 2 starts last year, but he hasn't won since, and he's been beaten at short prices a couple of times.
That's
as
a fair
well,
point. Fair point, my mate.
That's just worried me. And this is his first running group company, and he's one of the favs.
Who do you fancy, Lee Mottershead?
I'd give old Gabriel another chance.
Yeah, well done, mate. That's a hideously
great
sentimental tip, obviously.
Well, I mean, if Rooster Boost was in the field, I'd be going for him as well, regardless of his current situation.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Gabriel's not won a group race before, but in reality, this is a listed race masquerading as a group race. He's won one at Windsor this season. He keeps running well. He'll pop up in one again at some point before the year ends. This could be the one.
I was hoping for a long answer there because I just put a chocolate in my mouth. I'm struggling. That was far too concise. David Jennings, once you get him talking, you could have your Christmas dinner, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly,
right, in that case, we better move on to the 3:30 at Haydock. The 1 mile 6, Bet 32 Red Casino handicap. for which Paddy Power bet as follows, Brendan.
Yes, the old Borough Cup, of course, was very much more evocative title, but 9-2 Magic Circle, 6-1 Shrewd and Shakopee, 13-2 Walpole, 10-1 Montali, 12-1 The Intense Tango, and 14's Bar.
Brendan, how many years of the old Borough Cup do you think there's been?
No, that is a good question. I'm going to say I pitched the under-over at 20.
Yeah, it's a good guess. It's only 16, so it's not like they're really messing with racing tradition here,
it's
is
no
it?
big deal then, is it?
Brendan, who do you like?
Well, again, the rain, I thought, we'll get a bit of rain, I'll be able to cut the field in half here. They all seem to want a bit of cut. I suppose maybe Magic Circle, because it needs further, it would be an even better advantage to him to make it more of a stamina test. So, yeah, Magic Circle.
Magic Circle, obviously for King Rafe. Keels,
Yes.
who do you think will win
Yeah,
this?
well, we're all sort of expecting the ground to be on the soft side, but it was actually pretty fast yesterday, and it's going to have another day of drying out today. So it's not going to, by 3:30, will it be that soft? I don't know. I mean, Magic Circle definitely wants 2 miles, and I think if the rain doesn't get deep enough into the ground, I think he'll struggle, and I don't really have him as favourite. Obviously, Shrewd is you could argue the form horse over finished second in the E-Bob, but the one I like is Montali. 2 years ago, he won a very, very good 3-year-old handicap at Haydock over 1.5 miles, and he's not won since. But he obviously had problems after being gelded the year before last, because he only went 3 times last year. He's run really well his last 2 starts over trips that I think stretch him, because he's travelled really well and he's not found much. First one was when 5th to Jenny's Jewel at Royal Ascot in the 2-mile 4 furlong Ascot Stakes. Last time he was third to Sweet Selection and that nutter of. Sir Mark Prescott.
Palisade.
No. Something Heaven.
I don't know.
Can't remember the name of it. But it's a Sea of Heaven, is it?
Possibly.
It's a nutter anyway. But they're still both progressive horses anyway. And he was third there, and he got there absolutely cantering, and he didn't find much. I think the drop back to 1 mile 6 furlong is going to suit. Any rain won't bother. He goes on. He seems to go on any ground. I like the fact that he travelled so well and won so well in a good race. Beat Guaffer, I think it was, 2 years ago.
All right, mate. Lee, who do you like?
Paul said exactly what I was going to say, but he said it better.
Okay, fine. So Montali, yeah?
Yeah, it's drawn well too.
All right, then. 4 o'clock. We've got the Be Friendly handicap, which is always good advice. I don't think there's any betting on this. We've got a fancy here, Kills. Is this one of the races? Is this one of the long
every
list
race
of horses?
every race I look at tomorrow, I've got a fancy. It's
Brilliant.
absolutely
Okay,
crazy.
go on in. Who's this one?
Yeah, I really like the look of Lady Macappa. She won a soft ground race at Windsor in June, and then she's had the summer off, and she came back at York's E-Ball meeting, and she missed the break. She then got hampered close home. Probably would have been even a little bit closer, but she was 7th, only beaten 3 lengths in a really competitive sprint. She gave me the impression that she'd probably improved for her break. She probably doesn't need the ground any easier than it is, given the way she ran at York. Quite interesting. The William Knight's booked Danny Tudhope, who is it's his first ever ride for the yard. He's one of the most prolific riders at Haydock over the last few years. Rides loads and loads of winners there, especially if you take away his record on 2-year-olds, which is poor, but then he doesn't ride for trainers who are associated with 2-year-olds.
Right.
So, I think William Knight's done his homework, booked a jockey who really rides the course well, and he was talking about Lady Macappa as a possible Lauder horse as a 2-year-old. No, she didn't sort of step up to that level then. She might just be an improver. She's only 3. The last 2 runnings of this have been won by 3-year-olds.
All right. We owe William Knight an apology, by the way, because it's his 40th birthday in the week. And in the birthdays, we used a really awful picture of him. It was supposed to make him look like he was celebrating, but it was ridiculous.
It made him look like he was off his head.
It was ridiculous. And he's quite a handsome fella, isn't he, William Knight? And, but no, that was a terrible picture, that. So sorry, William. We hope you had a nice birthday anyway. Lee, have you got a view in this one? Or indeed any other race at Haydock? Let's wrap up Haydock.
Yeah, well, I think Caspar's interested. Again, I'm going to go down the Robert Cowell line. This also races for Robert for the first time in this contest. Andrea Atseni's been booked. He's been a real strong traveller in Ireland. Goes through his races like a class horse. Hasn't always delivered at the business end. I think it's an interesting sort of race for Robert to dropping him into first time out for the yard. I say Atseni booked. I think that could be a player.
All right, mate. Anything else at Haydock for you, Brendan?
Nothing else for me.
Kills, have you got anything else at Haydock?
Yeah, of course I have.
Is it your
yeah,
best
one more.
bet? Because if it's not, we'll say. If it is, we'll save it for that.
It's not the best
If
bet.
not, we'll have it. Go on.
There's a horse in the top weight in the last. It was a really good handicap.
The 505.
The 505. Cosmopolitan, trained by Alan King.
You love an Alan King, don't you, on the flat?
Yeah, it was fourth at Glorious Goodwood, having sort of found trouble early and late. And he won next time by 10 lengths at Newby. He's gone up £10 for that. I'd actually backed him in the big 1 mile 4 furlong handicap at Ascot anti-post, and a bit disappointed to see him run here. But trainer obviously thinks he wants to go up and trip again. 1 mile 6 furlong it is. And I think he's probably a decent horse going the right way. He'll take this before we see him over hurdles.
OK, that was Haydock. Let's have a look at Ascot next.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP5 at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Interesting race titles at Ascot for the two races we're going to have a look at. At 240, it was the Albert Bartlett handicap. Now, I got very excited when I saw that because I thought it was going to be jump racing.
And I'm absolutely 2 mile 1 furlong shorter than it should be.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, we put some jump racing on the front today because these 3 Tizard horses could all challenge each other. We stuck it on the front, and all the flat people started getting the ump.
Yeah, what's the matter with them?
Did they?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Get alive.
Who said anything?
Oh, I'm not going to name them. They're just pathetic people going, why don't you cover flat racing? Listen, there aren't any great flat racing stories going on at that particular moment. Everyone's excited about the jump, so I thought we'd give people a bit of jump racing anyway. I won't do that again. Blimey, I know my place. It's September as well. It's the jump season already, isn't it?
Yeah,
jump this weekend.
Jumping's coming. I mean,
yes.
You know, the flat season
never goes away, does it?
It does go away, unfortunately,
never goes away.
and it's back. But anyway, we've got this 7 furlong Albert Bartlett race. The potato growers are obviously branching out into the flat. Kills, you say that wherever there's a race, there's a fancy for you, so you can lead off on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's quite interesting. There's quite a few that you could fancy. Some of them are drawn low, like Von Blucher is low.
You always say there's no draw bias at Ascot.
No, there isn't necessarily a draw bias, but there's no pace on the low side whatsoever.
Okay.
The 2 front runners are drawn 15 and 17. They are Bobby Wheeler and Ice Slice. So you'd imagine they're going to come over near side, or the near of middle anyway. And I think it's all set up for Squats and William Haggis and Ryan Moore. Now, the last time Scott's won at Ascot was under Ryan Moore, beat Profitable in a nursery handicap. Now, he hasn't won there since, but he runs all his best races there, including when second to Labrisa Breeze in the International 2 starts ago. Got chinned in a Mickey Mouse race at Newmarket next time, Smallfield, which just wasn't set up for him, but this will be, and I think the horse is improving. And obviously, Georgia Cox, who's been riding Squats, is quite a talented young rider, but
not as good as Ryan Moore. And possibly 16 runners.
Yeah,
quite possibly. That won't happen, will it?
Well, again, there's a little bit of rain forecast, but I can't see it being much.
How much do you reckon you'll have? 20 quid each way?
Oh, at least.
More?
More. Yeah.
Miles more. Yeah. Okay. Does the missus watch these? She doesn't, or listen to the podcast? She doesn't, does she?
No. And I sit well away from her. I make sure that I'm behind her when I'm watching the telly, because then she can't see me tensing up.
Well, where does she sit then? On the puff?
No. She sits on the sofa. I sit at the computer behind it.
Oh, I see. All right, because she can
but
see.
She's taking my daughter to Madame Tussauds tomorrow, and I'm going on the Flash.
Why are you doing that on a Saturday? The queue's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. But we're going to go on a Sunday, but apparently the trains are up the spout, and
it's the school holiday. She should be going in the week, surely.
Yeah, I know, but.
Which particular waxwork is Zoe Lee looking forward to seeing?
I don't think she's much into celebrities, so I wouldn't know. She hasn't mentioned it.
So she hopes it's just
general
public.
A day out. Yeah, they all look like just people.
So that leaves you alone.
That leaves me alone, yeah. As long as I can get Sean to look after the dog, I'll be down the pub.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Lee, do you have a view on the Albert Bartlett? Not the Cheltenham one, the one tomorrow.
I've got more interest in the Albert Bartlett than having Wax. Doesn't really grab me at all, that trip to Madame Tussauds. But
no, I don't fancy that.
Again, a bit of a soppy one, but Heaven's Guest, I think is interesting. Loves Ascot. Admittedly, hasn't run there that well this year, but the race didn't go to plan to, so it's going international. It was a funny sort of race. Last time out, Goodwood's not his track. He's on the same mark as when second in the Bunbury Cup back in early July, which shows he can be more than dangerous off this mark. And again, he's always worth looking at in an Ascot straight back cross handicap, and this could be on for him.
I love it when a tipster prefaces his selection as being soppy.
Yeah.
That's why you bookmakers make so much money, Brendan, isn't it? Sentiment, it's like me and even Keels can be a bit sentimental
well,
towards
Heaven's
an old
Guest,
horse.
one of my favourite horses. funny
Exactly.
enough, yeah.
But what does the hard-nosed, cynical, cold-blooded bookie Brendan Duke fancy in this?
Well, excuse me,
Hawkeye new, obviously.
Von Blucher is probably the one to beat. I mean, he got back on track yesterday. The one I was interested in was that Yatwi. Obviously, Bin Saror's been reading Tom Segal's work and get these £7 claimers on the straight track at Ascot. But it's hard enough to back anything from that stable at the moment. He's a few running today. If they ran all right today, I might back Yatwi, but I'd have to see a bit of encouragement today.
All right, then, fair enough. We'll move on to the 310, which is the Appletiser Stakes. Now then, who here is confused by that? Because I always remember it as Apple Ties.
Yeah, Apple Ties, yeah.
Apple
I don't
Ties.
get that,
Do you agree with that, Lee?
Well, yeah, but maybe they've done like a marathon.
That's
Snickers,
exactly
but it's
what's
not extreme.
happened. That is exactly what's happened. I researched it.
Yeah.
And I believe about 2004, I can nail it down to, Apple Ties became Appletiser. Even though some people mix it up with Tiser, apparently. So anyway, we've got this very competitive handicap called the Appletiser handicap. Who will pip who at the post, do you think, Brendan?
I think this Dal Harold will win.
That went straight over his head, didn't it?
I enjoyed that. No, it's good, that.
Thank you,
the Apple Pip. The
Yes,
Apple Pip.
yeah,
Apologies.
yeah.
Yes,
Don't worry,
indeed. My bad. The Dal Harold wins. This is a horse going places. He probably ideally wants further, but this should be running a decent gallop. That was proper form the last day, despite the fact they all finished in a heap. He was still green. He's only learning. Haggis flying. This wins.
You make him fav, don't you? How'd you bet?
7-2 Dal Harold, 5-1 Stargazer, 6-1 60s Groove, 8-1 Real Dominion and Danehill Kodiak, 10s Combative and Wild Hacked, and 12 Bar.
I'm seeing 60s Grooves non-runner on my racing post app. I don't know if that's true.
Oh, well, you may be ahead of us.
Oh, I don't know about
Oh,
that.
that's disappointing because that's the one I sort of quite fancied.
Have you got that on your?
Yeah, it's come down as a non.
Perhaps it's just come
as
through
a
as a
non.
non.
It must have literally just come through.
Blimey. All right. Well, if we take that to be true, then who do you think will win? Or has that rocked your calendar?
Yeah, that's.
Let's give you a few seconds. Lee, 310, the Appletiser.
Well, I'm a sucker for a Sir Michael Stout train, young middle distance handicapper going places. That's what Stargazer is. A couple of days before Dal Harold's race at Goodwood, Stargazer ran in the Excel of old, ran a really good race, stayed on well over a mile and a quarter. I guess he's been laid out for this one since. Stephen Mitchell will really help him. Ryan Moore on board. Stargazer wins the Appletiser.
All right, Kills.
Yeah, well, for an each-way bet, I'd say I'd stick up Real Dominion because he just keeps running well. He was a little bit unlucky last time as well, went second. The one thing that worries me about the favourite is he takes a little bit of time to get going. And you know what it's like at Ascot, they come around the bend, you get a little bit of trouble. He just needs to find one bit of trouble in running, and he probably won't win.
Okay.
I'd say each way. And let's not forget Godorplin absolutely bolted up in a race at Epsom on Derby Day. It hasn't
I already
run
have
since.
forgotten that.
Yeah, it was 33-1 shot in the first. You know, we said who on earth was that? Sylvester.
Oh,
Kurtz.
yeah.
Well, that form works out ridiculously well. There was stacks of winners in it, and he's a double-figure price, having not run since. Could be interesting.
Door Palin. Okay, producer Sam's just held up a note saying, hurry the... I can't see what the next word is. Begins with F and then up. So we'll put our foot down. Anything else at Ascot? Paul Keeley.
Kadritzi won at the Shergar Cup really easily. I think he'd take an awful lot of beating in the 6 furlong handicap at 4:10.
Brendan?
No, nothing else for me, Bruce.
You don't need anything else once Dal Harold has won, do you?
That is correct.
Lee, anything at Ascot?
No,
Or should we move to
Northampton.
Kempton Park? Let's go to Kempton
Yeah.
then. The September Stakes used to be a big race, not such a big deal anymore. Group 3. Short favourite, Brendan, yeah?
Yes, Arab Spring 6-4, 3-1 Sky Hunter, 5-1 Robin of Navan, 7-1 Firefighting, 8-1 Miss Marjorie, and 20s Bar.
Okay, we'll stick with you for a favourite and a winner and a very concise reason why.
Whatever wins this, I'll be shocked. Everything has a hole in it. Again, if Sky Hunter, if a few Bin Sarors run well today, he's a demon fresh. If the yard were in better form, I'd fancy him. So
right.
maybe him.
Lee, who do you think will be the September Stakes success?
Borum, I think Stout will win it. He's won the race 5 times before, and I spent a very happy 10 minutes on YouTube this morning looking at Schernazar and Dia Star winning the race in the mid-90s.
Oh, that must have been nice. There were some bigger
I like
names
that
then
one.
than there are now. Arab Spring for Lee. You can stick with the Johnny
No, got
Kills?
to take these front two on, haven't you? I mean, Arab Spring, good run first time. I ran to a race post rating of 69 when tailed off in the Judd Monty International and out again quickly.
You're going to go with the Bravey?
Well, that tells me that they just don't think he's a Group 1 horse. To be running him out in the Mickey Mouse Group 3 at Kempton just a couple of weeks later, they lower the sights and let's hope for the best. I'll be taking him on 6-4. Can't have the Sabin Sure thing. So let's go for the 3-year-old, Harry Dunlop's Robin of Navan. Second to Cloth of Stars, first time out, good run. Cloth of Stars was third in the Grand Prix de Paris recently. That's a good run. Forget the French Derby run on bottomless ground. I think he's the obvious one for me, about 5-1.
OK, let's get the Saturday naps.
This will not be beaten.
Lee Mottershead, we'll start with you.
I was very excited by a 2-year-old trained by Hugo Palmer called Coropic, who made a very strong winning debut at Thirst, cruised through the race. When Jack Mitchell asked him to go about his business, he did it very impressively. He goes in the Serenia Stakes tomorrow. The last line makes the market, and I think Coropic will show himself to be a very high-class individual.
And that's the 3:15 at Kempton Park. Pardon me. Brendan.
Dal Harold, 3:10 Ascot.
Is it, if there was a star rating on this, and 10 star is your most confident and 0 is you've got no interest at all, what star is that?
Ooh, he'd definitely be an 8. He'd be a hard 8, a soft 9.
Are you having a proper bet here?
I am. Well, I can't find many bets tomorrow, so yeah.
You want to come out with me, son?
Well, indeed.
Loads.
Well, no, it'd be like a bank job, Paul. I'll be in and out. I'll back a few of yours, of course, to keep me ticking over.
Yeah, you've got to do a sort of Keeley multiple, haven't you?
Yeah, but they'd be like, hard 2s, soft 3s, whereas this wins.
All right then, Kills, you've whittled them down. You fancy about 20. Who's the best bet?
I'm going to have a massive multiple bet with about a 10p unique stake and an overall cost of about 500 quid. But the nap
and a return
will be,
of about 10p.
Yeah, return of about 10 quid. The nap, everything's in place for Squats and Ryan Moore in the 240.
OK, let's look at Sunday in just a mo.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP5 at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Hello, Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, Lee Mottershead and Paddy Powers. Ace odds compiler Brendan Duke. We've looked at Saturday. Let's look at Sunday. And it's not a particularly bad day at all because there's a good meeting at York. There'll be a right healthy crowd there. And also there's some stuff going on at Dundalk, which Brendan Duke has been looking at and has got a couple of winners for us. So we'll start with Dundalk. Brendan, over to you. Who are the horses to be focusing on there?
Well, probably the most interesting horse running is that De Coronado, Zenyatta's full brother. Started off over 1.5 miles, couldn't put one leg in front of the other. Then improved no end for his run, won over 1 mile the last day. And now Aidan drops him back to 7 furlongs. It doesn't look obvious to me, but who am I to question a genius like Aidan O'Brien? That'll be popular, and I think it'll probably win.
That's the 3 o'clock, isn't it?
That's the 3 o'clock.
De
Coronado. And in the half one, a horse called Repatriated. He hasn't had many runs. First time blinkers. Now, it's all going to be Pete Tong the last couple of runs, but maybe the blinkers will work. Noel V. Kennedy, shrewd enough operator, Repatriated.
I don't know much about Noel V. Kennedy. Sounds like one of those sort of those Monday rap acts, doesn't it? So-and-so, TJ so-and-so, V so-and-so. But Noel V. Kennedy, he can get the job done, can he, Brendan?
He can get the job done, and the first-time headgear angle for the Kennedy.
Righty-ho. Let's look ahead to York then, where the Garrowby Stakes at 3:10 is the star attraction. Some decent horses on show there. Keels, take us through who you think is going to cross the line first.
Yeah, well, clear form pick by some way is Danzino of Michael Appleby's, but he's been below form last 3 times, so might just be worth taking on, and I'll have a go with the Great St Wilfrid winner, Name It What You Like, who I thought, he's got an awful load of handicap form to his name, but he gave the impression that he'd improved again. He'd improved at the end of last autumn as well. So I'll give him another go. It's a level that he's not really used to, but I think he's got a shot.
OK, Lee, have you had a good study up on the Garrowby?
Well, like you said, we're talking about names then, aren't we? Race names. Interesting, Garrowby Stakes always used to be a 1 mile 4 furlong handicap for 3-year-olds on York State, a midweek Wednesday, Thursday meeting, a couple of weeks after the Ebor Festival. That doesn't help you find the winner of the race, but I'd say Name It What You Like to follow up his St Wilfrid victory. He's already gone 1-1 at York, and later in the card, Andrew Balding has got a 3-year-old 2 mile handicap, a swashbuckle. A 3-year-old in a 2 mile handicap getting away from older horses with 2 wins against his name seems very attractive to me.
That's in the 4:10. Anything else at York for you,
No,
Kills?
not for me.
Do you want to chip in at York, Brendan?
No, I've got nothing for you. Well, as Paul said, that Danzino would want to be winning. If it doesn't win that race, it's all over for him in terms of Group 1s anyway.
Righty-ho, weekend plans, Kilso. Pub tomorrow while the family are at Madame
it's
Two
quite
Swords.
possible I'll be down the pub tomorrow and I'll be recovering Sunday.
What else will you do? When you say recovering, do you just lie on the sofa feeling sorry for yourself?
Yeah, just literally do nothing. Take the dog for a couple of walks. He's having his hair cut tomorrow afternoon.
The dog
so
is?
Yeah.
Is he? How much will that cost you?
Oh, 26 quid. It's great.
That's good.
She comes round and does it as well.
No way.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
We pay 40.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Lee, weekend plans? Crafting Monday's column, what are you going to be writing about?
Well, what am I going to be writing about? I'm not entirely convinced yet. I'm working on that one. It's germinating. But September, Bruce, marks my 20th anniversary of working for the Racing Post.
No way. That's
true.
amazing.
Wow.
September.
You get a John Lewis voucher for that, don't you?
Do you really?
Yeah, you do, yeah.
September '96 was when I started,
Wow.
and my first racecourse assignment in this new era is going to be at Wolverhampton tomorrow night, interviewing Adam McNamara. I'm missing the Strictly Lawn show.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, of course you're our Strictly man. So who's the good thing this year?
Well, I'm interested how Claudia Fragapani does. She's a gymnast, so you'd imagine she'd be pretty flexible.
Oh yeah,
as
she's a
Lewis
certainty,
Smith.
isn't she? I thought that. When I heard there was a top quality gymnast on there, you can't look beyond them, can
Well,
you?
I mean, Lewis Smith won it on the same basis, so I think she has to be one to beat. You can get 4-1 at the moment. The one that could be interesting is Oria Duba, who's part of the BBC's Olympic presenting team. He looks like he might be able to go a bit.
Yeah, that does my head in by the bloke who does the news on BBC Breakfast suddenly qualifies for a celebrity BBC show. It's pathetic. Who's the sort of crap one who'll hang around for ages and get the sympathy vote like that Sargent bloke the other year?
I reckon it will be Leslie Joseph of Birds of a Feather fame. She's the oldest woman ever to compete in Strictly Come Dancing, and she did once dance in an episode of Birds of a Feather, albeit the first incarnation.
Kills, are you an X Factor man or a Strictly man? Neither.
Absolute rubbish.
It's more Bake Off, isn't it?
Punting on Del Mar when
any
they're on.
of it.
Do you watch any of that, Brendan?
No, I wouldn't go out the back garden to watch it, but I'm impressed with Lee, though, because he's done his video research. He's been watching Birds of a Feather. That's like watching 2-year-old debuts for Strictly Come Dancing. And also, as we know, he is the king of the extra markets on horse racing in terms of champion jockey and rest of the world.
Oh, yeah, you're on Crowley at 50, aren't you?
Well, it won't happen, though, will it? Whenever you get something like that, it
Don't be
never
so
actually happens.
pessimistic. You're in a great position there.
But sure, it's value for tea, Lee. All you can do is root out those little truffles and sit back. All you can do is get the price right.
Brendan, working or enjoying life this weekend, or both? You can enjoy life at work, can't you?
I'm off on Saturday. I could probably do something on Saturday. I might do something on Saturday. I'm working Sunday. I don't know.
How's the quest for love going?
Oh, funny you should ask, actually. I have a date on Monday. Well, a provisional date. She's in Copenhagen this weekend, and as we know, that is the land of chiselled Viking jaws and flowing locks. But assuming she doesn't run off with a Danish guy, I'll be going out for a date with her on Monday.
Fantastic. Oh,
Yeah.
That sounds very promising.
Yeah. Well, I think so. It'll probably, as Lee said, it'll probably be another tale of woe, but for sure.
Well,
Could
hopefully
you develop chisels and flowing locks before Monday, Brendan?
Well, I have a good jaw myself, actually, now
Do
that I
you?
think about it. Yeah, I think I might have a bit of Viking in me.
Your Twitter profile picture, ironically, stops at your nose, so we don't get to see that square jaw, do we? Perhaps you need to review that if that's one of your best features.
Yes, that's a good point, actually. I'll look into that.
Chiseled nose, though, to be fair. Chiseled nose.
I have a good nose, yeah. Roman nose. Perhaps I'm
Roman.
the product of an Italian Viking.
Is that like Roman all over your face?
Yeah, exactly. I've looked at it. It's like Charlie Magri's. Right, OK, we're back on Monday with the Weekend Review Postcast and back next Friday to hear about how Brendan's hot date went on and to bring you all the hot tips for the St Leger and Irish Champions weekend.
The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They pay more extra places than any other bookie.